Hello everybody, my name is Dicker Games and welcome to my review of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. I just want to start off and say that I was very excited for this movie. I love FNAF. I really do. It is one of my favorite like little horror genres of like indie games out there. I think it's really cool. I do think that it's maybe fallen off a little bit over the time, but like the inner child in me, much like some of those memes that you saw out there during the release of the movie and leading up to it about like who's going to go see the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, and it's like who's actually going to go see, who's really seeing it, and it's like the older version of them is seeing it now, but the person that's really seeing it is their inner child and everything. That was definitely something that was happening with like me because FNAF was a huge part of my childhood. Now I was never a kid that like collected anything, but I was definitely one that like watched a lot of theories and uh like would watch a bunch of like all sorts of other stuff. I remember whenever the FNAF 2 trailer came out. I remember that. I remember sitting in my homeroom in middle school watching on my little iPhone 4 of the trailer for FNAF 2 and like breaking down the stuff with it. I'm like, oh, it's London Bridge is falling down. What does that mean? Oh. And I was only in like seventh grade or something like that. Uh, but yeah, like FNAF is really cool. So going into this movie, I didn't really have high expectations. I figured that it was going to be pretty either cheesy or maybe mediocre, but you're going in because it's FNAF, and that's what it was. But I can say I'm pleasantly surprised by the fact that it was pretty good. Now, I'm usually a very harsh critic with movies, and if they're just bad, I'll just say that they're bad. Kind of like with the Flash movie review, I just shat on it the entire time. I was like, I just did not like this one. But with FNAF, I did actually enjoy watching it. I did. It was good, and there are some parts that seem very, and then there's some parts where the plot's like, well, why did this happen? It felt very FNAF in that aspect. So I guess it was on brand at least. Then there was also some of the actors I didn't really enjoy. Vanessa's actress I didn't really enjoy. Like the way that she talked was very one note, one tone, and I just didn't really enjoy that. Uh, but the animatronics are obviously one of the biggest draws to the like movie, and it was awesome seeing real life animatronics, practical effect animatronics of them physically moving around and being animatronics, and then seeing people in suits. That was also really cool. It is awesome. It seriously is. And then there's all like the little Easter eggs, like how Mike wakes up at 6 a.m. and like it zooms in at 6 a.m. and then there's stuff like Sparky's, and then there's the purple guy suit, and then there's the Sparky animatronic dog suit, and then what looks to be either like a Ballora and like Circus Baby mix of an animatronic. Then there's also like stuff with Steve, or well, Michael Afton or William Afton, like hearing the name Schmidt, and he's like, Schmidt. Now that makes me think that either A, they're going to go with the idea that that was like Henry's last name, as in the guy that made all of the animatronics with Afton, or maybe they're going to go into something like, oh, he's actually my dad, which the end kind of tucks that away. But yeah, there's like a bunch of like really cool small Easter eggs for like the keen-eyed viewers, and obviously spoilers. Matt Pat shows up. Like I physically screamed when he came on because that's fucking hilarious. That is so funny. That is so funny. That Matt Pat comes on and he's talking and he's just like, well, that's just the theory. That's fucking hilarious. That is hilarious. Corey Kenshin is obviously in the movie too. That's really fun. That's really cool. Balloon Boy was really cool. The Cupcake is really cool. Carl, that's funny. Um, it sucks that Markiplier didn't get to be in the movie. I was expecting him to be in there at least once, and maybe like the whole stuff like, oh, he actually didn't get to make it was like just lies, like to keep like whenever he showed up like a surprise. But we obviously know now that's because of scheduling differences with Iron Lung. But yeah, all around it was very very cool. It was very fun, and while in some parts it just didn't feel right, like if it was just a normal movie, and it was you replaced everything. Obviously, you might be able to be like, "This is the closest thing we're ever going to get to a FNAF movie," so I might give it like a C or whatever. Like, even as a movie on its own, it's okay. It's like maybe a 6 out of 10. but but in terms of like effects and like animatronics and like proof of concept, and also the other stuff. Oh, and by the way, Matthew Lillard, holy shit, Matthew Lillard, he is amazing in this movie. His acting in this movie is phenomenal. It is so good. He does such a good job as playing William Afton. And then the spring locking scene, I was hoping that maybe like he really, really screams, but him just breaking down is also was also really, really good. That was stellar. That was awesome. And then like the little end credit scene, uh, and all sorts of other stuff. That was really, really cool. The drawing thing was a little weird, but other than that, I really did enjoy this movie, and I definitely hope there's a sequel, because why wouldn't there be? And I know Matthew Lillard talked about how he's going to be playing Springtrap for like other movies, which is awesome. And obviously now that the first one's out, they can see what went wrong and what went good and so on to advance and keep moving forward with the next movies. I don't know. And hopefully maybe Michael Afton will show up and some other stuff. And I know that Vanessa is kind of like the surrogate of Michael in the other things. And I know the entire movie's not canon, which who goes in expecting that it's going to be a canon movie? It feels like it's obviously just like it's a spinoff or a separate universe. Like they're trying to make like a fucking FNAF multiverse or whatever. Um, but yeah, it's good. It's good. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, really, really, really did enjoy it. Other than that, I'm trying to think of what other thoughts I have about the movie. Besides that, I enjoyed it as a FNAF fan, and I hope to see some really cool things like in the future. Also, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. Bridge to Terabithia actor, Michael Schmidt's actor. He was great in this. He really, really was. He was great in this. Um, he really did feel like what he was trying to do with his role. So that's also really, really cool. But other than that, I'll give the FNAF movie, Five Nights at Freddy's, a Blumhouse picture, a solid 7.5 out of 10. I enjoyed it. And as a FNAF fan, I would say like 8. Solid 8. For being FNAF and everything. So yeah, let me know what you thought of the FNAF movie down in the comments down below. And if you want to see more, click subscribe. If you want to be notified of every single time that I upload a video, hit the bell to be notified. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye. Horror, 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 horror.